Welcome to the Cenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
You know that feeling when even the smallest thing on your to-do list feels like climbing Everest, or maybe things you used to really enjoy just don't hit the same way anymore. They just feel flat.
Yeah, that lack of spark.
Exactly. And maybe you want to learn, you want to feel informed, but even picking up something new feels like a chore.
We hear you. That's actually a really common experience.
And it's exactly what we're diving into today. We're doing a deep dive on something called behavioral activation therapy, usually shortened to BA.
Right, and BA is it's a really direct, very action-focused way to deal with that lack of motivation, that low energy, maybe that loss of pleasure in things, anhedonia, they call it.
Okay.
So think of this as your shortcut to understanding a really effective therapy approach without getting totally bogged down in jargon.
Perfect. We've been digging into behavioral activation therapy, reclaim joy through action, and honestly, it's packed with useful stuff.
It really is.
So our mission today, let's really get what BA is, how it works, and maybe most importantly, how you could actually use some of these ideas day to day.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's unpack this first. What exactly is behavioral activation therapy?
Fundamentally.
Okay, so at its heart, BA is a specific type of therapy that comes from the cognitive behavioral therapy family, CBT.
Right, CBT, I've heard of that. Thoughts, feelings, behaviors.
Exactly. CBT looks at how all those connect. But BA, it really, really zooms in on one part, behavior, what you do.
Okay, so less focus on the thoughts compared to standard CBT.
Well, yeah, in a way. While traditional CBT might spend a lot of time helping you explore and, change negative thought patterns, BA takes a more direct path.
Oh, so?
Its core idea is actually pretty simple, but kind of powerful. You don't have to feel good to get going. You have to get going to feel good.
Okay, say that again.
You don't have to feel good to get going. You have to get going to feel good.
BA says, look, when you're feeling low or anxious or stuck, just waiting for motivation. And doing nothing or avoiding things, that can actually make you feel worse.
Right, like a vicious cycle.
Precisely. You do less, you feel worse, so you do even less. BA tries to break that cycle.
By forcing yourself to do things.
Not exactly forcing. It's more about gently reintroducing positive experiences, positive reinforcement. You do that by engaging in activities, even small ones, that align with what's actually important to you, your values.
Values. So not just random activities.
Right. Activities that give you a sense of pleasure or mastery or connection, things that matter. And doing those things, even when you don't feel like it initially, can start to lift your mood. Action leads to feeling better, not the other way around.
So it's challenging that idea that feelings have to come first.
That's a really key part of it. It tackles that avoidance and inactivity head on.
Okay, that core idea makes sense. It's action-oriented. So when is BA typically used? Is it just for depression?
Well, it's definitely best known for depression, especially when low energy and that loss of interest, anhedonia, are big factors. It's highly effective there. But its uses are actually broader than you might think. It's used successfully for anxiety disorders, too. Things like social anxiety, generalized anxiety.
Really?
Yeah, and also PTSD, substance use disorders. It's often used alongside other therapies in those cases.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is, and think about it, things like chronic stress, burnout, situations where you just feel overwhelmed and maybe disconnected. BA can be really helpful there, too.
Because it focuses on getting unstuck through action.
Exactly. Anyone feeling overwhelmed, maybe cut off from people, or just stuck in those avoiding loops we talked about.
And you mentioned it's often seen as quite straightforward.
Yeah, that's a big appeal for some people. It's simplicity, the focus on practical steps. It can feel less daunting than therapies that involve a lot of deep talking or analyzing the past. Plus, it tends to be quite cost-effective.
Okay. So let's say someone decides to, try BA. What would that actually look like? What's the process?
Generally, it starts with an assessment. The therapist works with you to figure out your specific patterns, like what are you avoiding? Which parts of your life feel most impacted by how you're feeling?
Identifying those sticking points.
Right. Pinpointing the behaviors that might be keeping you stuck. Then comes goal setting.
Okay. Big goals.
Not necessarily. Actually, usually the opposite. It's about setting meaningful goals, but making them really achievable. Small steps. And crucially, they should link back to your values, what's important to you.
Values again. That seems key.
It really is. Then there's usually something called activity monitoring. You basically keep track of what you do each day and how your mood is at different times.
Like a diary.
Sort of, yeah. But focused on activities and mood levels, it helps you start to see the direct links. When I did this, I felt a bit better, or when I avoided that, my mood dipped.
Ah, okay. Making the connection explicit.
Exactly. And seeing those connections naturally leads into the next step. Behavioral planning.
Which is?
Intentionally scheduling some of those small, manageable activities into your week. Things linked to your goals and values. Starting small.
Got it. Not trying to overhaul everything at once.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And throughout all this, you have regular check-ins with a therapist. You review progress, celebrate the small wins, which is really important, and troubleshoot any problems that come up. It's very collaborative.
It sounds very structured and practical.
It is. Very much focused on doing.
Okay, let's make this even more concrete. Can we talk through some real-world examples? How does this actually play out in someone's daily life?
Absolutely. Let's think about that core idea. Action shifts mood by bringing back positive reinforcement. So take social connection. Maybe you've been avoiding friends, feeling too down or anxious.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Pulling away.
Right. So BA wouldn't say go to a huge party. It might suggest starting with, say, sending one text message to a friend or making a quick 5-minute call.
Just a tiny step.
A tiny step. But making that connection, even briefly, can give you a little boost, a bit of positive feedback. It starts to break down the isolation.
Okay, so it chips away at the avoidance. What about chores? Sometimes those feel impossible when you're low.
Oh, definitely. Household chores, errands, they can feel totally overwhelming. So BA uses something called graded task assignment.
Graded tasks.
Yeah, you break a big, daunting task into really small pieces. So instead of clean the whole kitchen, which feels like too much, the goal might be wash 3 dishes or wipe down 1 counter.
Seriously, just 3 dishes.
Yep, because doing that gives you a small sense of accomplishment, mastery. It proves you can do something. And that little win builds momentum. It makes the next small step feel a bit easier.
I can see how that would work. That feeling of, okay, I did something.
Exactly. It combats that feeling of being completely paralyzed or overwhelmed.
What about other areas, like hobbies people have dropped?
Good one. Yeah, losing interest in hobbies is common. So BA might suggest setting a timer, maybe just for, say, 10 minutes. Pick up the guitar, open the sketchbook, whatever it is. No pressure to be amazing or even finish anything.
Just engage for 10 minutes.
Just engage. The goal is participation, reconnecting with the activity itself, not producing a masterpiece. It reduces the pressure.
And physical activity, if you have zero energy.
Same principle. Start incredibly small, maybe a 5-minute walk around the block, or just some gentle stretching while watching TV. The aim isn't intense exercise at first, it's just interrupting the physical inactivity. Even a little movement can help with energy and mood.
It really seems to be about lowering the barrier to entry for everything.
That's a great way to put it, lowering the barrier, even basic self-care. If showering feels like a monumental effort, maybe the goal is just brushing your teeth or changing out of pajamas. Small acts that reestablish routine and self-respect. And for work or school stuff, if you feel frozen, maybe the first step is just opening the laptop or writing 1 sentence, anything to just break the inertia.
These examples really highlight how small the actions can be initially. It's not about huge leaps.
Not at all. It's about consistent, purposeful baby steps aligned with your values.
Okay, this all sounds really practical, but we always like to look at the evidence. What does the research actually say? Is BA proven to work?
Yeah, absolutely. The research backing is actually pretty strong. There was a really important study back in 1996 by Jacobson and his colleagues. They were looking at traditional CBT, and they found something fascinating. It seemed like the behavioral parts of CBT, the doing stuff, were actually driving most of the positive change for depression, more so than just the thought-changing parts alone.
Wow, so the action itself was key.
That's what it suggested. And that finding really kicked off the development of BA as its own distinct therapy. It showed that focusing directly on activation could be really powerful.
Interesting. What about more recent research?
Oh yeah, plenty. There was a big study in The Lancet, a major medical journal, in 2016. It compared BA directly to CBT for major depression, and it found BA was just as effective as CBT, which is huge. But what was also really interesting was that BA worked well even when delivered by more junior mental health staff who maybe had less extensive training.
What does that suggest?
It suggests BA might be, simpler to learn and deliver effectively, potentially more accessible.
That's a really significant point for getting help to more people.
Definitely. And there are meta-analyses too, studies that combine results from lots of other studies. One by Ekers and colleagues in 2014 looked at a whole bunch of research and concluded BA is highly effective, especially for mild to moderate depression. So, yeah, the evidence base is quite robust.
Okay, solid evidence. Who is BA really for? Who stands to benefit most?
Well, it really comes back to what we said at the start. Anyone feeling kind of unmotivated, maybe disconnected, or just plain stuck.
That feeling of inertia.
Exactly. So specifically, if you have low energy, if you find it hard to enjoy things anymore, BA is definitely worth looking into.
Okay.
Also, if you notice you're avoiding things a lot, social events, work tasks, even just getting out of the house, if avoidance is a big pattern for you. And some people just prefer this kind of approach, Clear sips, action-focused, maybe less intense talking about the past compared to some other therapies.
Right, more practical, less abstract.
Yeah. And it can be particularly helpful if you feel like your negative thoughts are kind of paralyzing you, stopping you from doing anything. BA gives you a way to bypass that initial mental block by focusing on behavior first.
Start doing, then maybe the thoughts follow.
That's the idea. Plus, as we mentioned, it's evidence-based and often quite accessible. And while it's great for depression and anxiety, remember it can also be a helpful component in treating PTSD or supporting substance use recovery, usually alongside other approaches.
Okay. Now, the source material laid out 10 specific techniques used in BA. That sounds like a lot, but maybe we can quickly run through them, just to give people a flavor of the tools involved.
Sure, yeah, they all tie back to that core idea of getting active in meaningful ways. So first is activity monitoring. We talked about that, tracking activities and mood to see the links.
Right, the diary idea.
Number 2 is activity scheduling. Purposefully planning those value-based activities into your week gives structure.
Making it intentional.
3 is graded task assignment. Breaking down big tasks into small, manageable steps, like the 3 dishes example. 4, values identification. Super important. Figuring out what truly matters to you so the activities feel meaningful, not just like chores. Increases motivation.
Connecting action to purpose.
5 is problem solving. Thinking ahead about what might get in the way of doing an activity and planning how to handle it.
Being prepared for obstacles.
6, mastery and pleasure ratings. After doing something, you rate how much enjoyment you got and how much accomplishment you felt. Helps you see what really works for you.
Fine-tuning the approach.
7, social activation. Specifically focusing on reconnecting with people, rebuilding those social supports.
Counteracting isolation.
8, physical activity. Encouraging movement, even very gentle movement, to boost energy and mood.
Getting the body involved.
9 is mindful action. Trying to be present and engaged while you're doing the activity rather than your mind wandering or ruminating increases enjoyment.
Being present.
And 10, positive reinforcement. This is crucial. Actively acknowledging and rewarding yourself, even just mentally, for taking those steps.
Yeah.
Celebrating the small wins builds momentum.
Recognizing your own effort.
Okay.
That's a great toolkit.
It really is. They all work together to get you moving in a positive direction.
Now, we touched on this, but just to be crystal clear, the difference between BA and standard CBT again.
Sure. Think of them as cousins in the therapy world. Both look at thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But traditional CBT often puts a strong emphasis on identifying and directly changing negative thought patterns. Techniques like challenging your thoughts.
Right. Cognitive restructuring.
Exactly. BA, while acknowledging thoughts, puts the primary focus on changing behavior first. The idea is that by engaging in meaningful activities, your thoughts and feelings will naturally start to shift in a positive direction.
So CBT might be thought work leading to action, while BA is more action leading to thought-feeling change.
That's a pretty good way to summarize the emphasis, yeah. BA is really about breaking patterns of inactivity and avoidance through direct action. Very helpful if you feel really stuck.
Got it. And the source boiled BA down to 3 main goals. What are those overarching objectives?
Yeah, 3 key aims. First, increase engagement with positive activities. Simple enough get you doing more things that bring enjoyment, accomplishment, or connection. Things that feel rewarding.
Makes sense.
Second goal, reduce avoidance and inactivity. Actively work on decreasing those behaviors. Staying in bed, canceling plans, putting things off that tend to make your mood worse over time.
tackling the things that keep you stuck.
Precisely. And the third goal is to rebuild rewarding routines, helping you establish or reestablish a daily or weekly structure that includes positive activities and provides a sense of stability and purpose. Routine can be really grounding.
Get active, stop avoiding, build structure. Sounds like a solid plan.
It really is. It offers a very concrete, practical way to start feeling better.
So wrapping up, it seems like behavioral activation offers a really accessible and empowering way to approach feeling better. Not waiting for the feeling, but starting with the doing.
Absolutely. That's the core message. You can reclaim joy, boost your energy, improve your well-being through these small, intentional actions. Change often starts just by taking that first tiny step. You don't have to wait until you feel motivated. Start today.
That's such a hopeful note to end on. So maybe for you listening, think about this. What's one small thing, just one tiny action aligned with your values that you could maybe try today, inspired by what we've discussed?
It could be sending that text. Could be putting on music for 10 minutes. Could be stepping outside for 5 minutes.
Anything. And maybe reflect on those 10 techniques we mentioned. Did one of them particularly resonate? Activity scheduling. Graded tasks. Just noticing that might be a helpful starting point. It really is about starting somewhere, however small. Knowing those steps genuinely can lead to real positive change.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.